how do you enjoy yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you get out there and do something? You know, we have a weekly open mic where if you're somebody who's maybe just getting your feet wet and, you know, being vulnerable and performing for people and that sort of thing, like, no one has to be the best at anything to do it, you know, and expressing yourself and enjoying yourself is kind of the value.
Better get ready, because here comes another great episode of the No Dishes Podcast. Season 6 is brought to you by Visit Bloomington. Check them out at visitbloomington.com. Play that theme song.
Hey, say, honey, let's go out to eat. Relieve our culinary duties. With all these restaurants to sweep us off our feet, they're bound to turn us into foodies. No dishes, no dishes, no dishes. We'll have a bottle of wine for lights and have a good time. No dishes, no dishes.
It's a block. It's a house. It's Blockhouse. And we're here with can you tell I was thinking about that on the drive over here?
I love it. I'm here for it.
We're here with owner and my friend since 4th grade, David James. What up, D. James?
Hey, now. Good to be here.
Hey, now.
Thanks for having me.
Don't dream it's over. Yeah, man, we've been talking about it for a while. Maybe not since back to 4th grade. Podcast hasn't been going that long.
You know.
But you're running one of the premier music venues in town.
I like the sound of that.
I think it's premier. When did you open Blockhouse, and why did you kind of decide to open it in the first place?
You know, it'll be 10 years this August that we've been in the space. So,
wow.
Initially, we were interested in kind of getting a recording studio situation going. And I was just looking on Craigslist for like possibilities, and luckily found that, which was reasonably priced back then. And, yeah, it was a blank canvas in the old VFW building where the Atlas and the back door are. And so we set it up as a recording studio situation, and we had music lessons going occasionally. Ben Fowler, who runs Jefferson Street Studio around the corner, was doing lessons out of there for a while. And Andy Burgee has a studio around the corner from here as well, off of Fountain. And he was one of my partners early on, along with Drake Ritter, who we both go back with a ways.
Absolutely. Eagles fly higher.
Oh, yeah. And so we did that for a while. We would host shows occasionally, you know, 2 or 3 times a month, getting those day permits through the ATC and hawking, you know, PBR and, you know, an IPA and economy wine and that sort of situation. And then that just kind of continued happening with more frequency. And then we kind of decided it was a good time to pivot into being an actual, you know, establishment, serving things full time and hosting music with regularity. So.
Yeah. How long did that take? You know, so you had been in the space for 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe been a full-blown, like, venue, established, you know, bar for 8 or so?
Yeah, that happened around, like, 2017.
Okay.
And, yeah, been running fairly strong ever since. Obviously, we had the whole pandemic situation, and that sidelined us for a little while. But yeah, it's been a good run so far.
I would say so. Dude, it's crazy. Like, it doesn't seem like it's been that long.
Yeah.
But when, like, as soon as you said that, I was like, well, it makes sense. Like, it's been a while. Just time flies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you were getting in there just a little bit after I started at the Chocolate Moose, which that feels like an eternity. So you've been in the game for a minute. So you brought up the pandemic. How did you, as of all the places that suffered, live music venues were probably top of the list.
Certainly.
How'd you guys make it through to keep going?
I mean, for a good amount of time, we just kind of had to shutter things down and like ride it out. Obviously, when you're hosting touring musicians, you know, during that time, somebody going and playing a place and getting COVID would sideline, you know, 2 weeks to 2 months of their time. So it was just a very difficult environment to keep things rolling. And so, like many other music venues, we just shut down. Luckily, was able to navigate some federal grants. That there's the SVOG, which is like a Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. And I don't have a background in navigating all of that. So much of this has just been surfing the learning curve and kind of figuring out how to make things work, even if it's not too easy.
Yeah, you get into opening a venue because you love music. Next thing you know, you're an expert at paperwork.
Yeah, I could use more expertise in that direction, but I'm definitely getting it together, figuring it out.
Sweet. Well, yeah, glad you guys made it through. Obviously, still probably as strong as ever, it seems like.
Yeah, things have been going well. The cost of living and the cost of rent and all that sort of stuff, I feel like everyone's feeling that across the board from an inflation standpoint. But we're really lucky to have, a community here that we've carved out and that we're a part of, and offer a place that people love. And so we've been able to do, some shows in the direction of helping fundraise some money to navigate rising costs and things like that. And you just kind of have to continue being creative about what you're offering to people. So it's been good. We're rolling with it.
Yeah, like doing what we can. Yeah, I know one of the things, we've talked about is your beer only. And that's so tough. In Bloomington especially, I mean, a 3-way liquor license is what, upwards of $250,000?
Last I heard, I think it's still up there, which is just wild. I mean, compared to, you could go up to Indy and get one for 40 or 50.
Yeah,
and
nuts.
So the startup cost in our direction has definitely been, slim. And luckily the, drinking culture is kind of expanding in the direction of there being hard seltzers and other items that work well for people who aren't beer drinkers. We also have a lot of non-alcoholic options, and that's an exciting thing for folks who aren't trying to get, shit-faced or, pardon me, wasted.
You're good. You can cuss.
And I mean, it's been a cool shift, where there's now non-alcoholic Kolsch's and hazy IPAs and things that people enjoy. And at the end of the day, we're, while I'm sure we could make more money hawking shots, there's a lot of upfront cost, and it's just a bit of a messier thing to navigate as an establishment. So we're kind of trying to strike a nice balance and be in a place to come let loose, but the cleanup isn't so rough.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's like the Blockhouse has never struck me as a place people would really get in fights. It's everyone's there to have a good time, hang out, but I'm sure like you have to deal with much less bullshit without liquor.
Sure.
Like it's really hard to accidentally get off the rails drinking beer.
Yeah. And I mean, I would love it. And there's things, I've bartended in this town for the better part of a decade, and like thoroughly enjoy making cocktails and drinking them. And, I like everything, and I'm glad that there's places for that. But yeah, it's kind of, you take it on the chin when you can't navigate a cost. Like I don't have $250,000.
Yeah.
And I don't aim to put that together.
How long would it even take to make that back? No, I mean,
that's tough. So we're rolling with what we got, and you never know, we may make some shifts down the line, but I mean, the primary focus is hosting events, and, being a place to enjoy some live music and a variety of other things that we've hosted over the years.
Yeah, it's such a cool, unique venue. It's just, you're in this basement, low ceilings, and just different seating options. It's just unique. It's creative. It's not like cookie cutter in any means. I think the prime example is the urinals that go to the floor.
Yes, those are vintage.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Was that something you sought out? Or
I did not go out of my way for those, and I'm not sure that you could. I'm not sure if they're making new ones in that direction. I think that was just a relic of it being of VFW.
I love it.
Yeah. And that whole building used to be connected. Like used to be a walk through all of the spaces.
Oh, wow.
When it was a VFW. But now it's just a really cool block. I mean, as far as we have great neighbors, the back door is phenomenal space with great people, and the Atlas is, one of my favorite bars. And not only because of proximity. They got some great people on staff, and it's a really cool part of town for nightlife.
Yeah, it's always nice to have cool neighbors too.
Yeah.
And you're just like, Blockhouses, or you guys are doing cool shit, Backdoor's doing cool shit. Atlas just has always been one of, if not the go-to for industry people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember I went to Honky Tonk when Toby from Backdoor was there. And when I did recall that you had some great NA beer options. I think I had like maybe Athletic, like Golden Ale. Does that sound right?
They've got some good stuff for sure.
Oh man, I had no idea, because even when I quit drinking, I wasn't really boozing beer like I did when I was like 21, 22, 23. I'd moved on to the harder stuff,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And one of the things with like sobriety I've gone back to is like trying some NA beers and like, man, the flavor is great.
Yeah.
Like they've got really good flavor to them. And there are places that do spirits that have the NA spirits.
Yeah.
Is that something you would, I just thought of this.
No, it's a good idea.
Could you do NA spirits?
I'm certain we could.
Because it's not alcohol, so
yeah.
we wouldn't necessarily need a three-way for that.
Yeah, we've thought about expanding a bit in the direction of like having mocktails and things like that. And definitely the kind of thing like if we were to do, would want to come out swinging and plan well. You know, so much. We've had so many pivots. I mean, be it changing where the bar room is or opening up more space and renovations over the years. So I'm always open-minded towards something like that. I think that could be cool.
Sweet. Yeah, I love when I have like little epiphanies on the pot. I'm like, oh shit,
hey.
dude. Yeah, and
he's not getting a cut, I don't think, but we'll see.
No, I'm not. Yeah. Well, it's always like selfishly what I would like to see when
absolutely.
I go out. Like, oh yeah, like I'd love it if you had mocktails when I went out to Blockhouse.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then it just hits me. Oh God. And then it hits me and I have the person to talk to right here instead of me just driving around like, oh, that'd be cool if they did that someday. How much are you paying for your restaurant's business insurance? What's affordable for your needs? What does your agent do for you that isn't just policy writing? Tony Brown with First Insurance Group has a keen eye for the policies all restaurant owners and operators would love to have. Tony provides risk management and other HR resources free of charge as your agent. Tony has no waiting period for loss of business coverage starting from day one, minute one, unlike other carriers' 72-hour waiting period. Tony has no audit for liquor liability and general liability, saving you time so you can focus on running your restaurant. And Tony's insurance carrier is the preferred vendor of choice for the Indiana Restaurant and Lodging Association. Call or text Tony Brown with First Insurance Group today, 812-327-2321. Set up a free review of your current policy and see how Tony can help you protect your largest investment, your business. 812-327-2321. So I mentioned Honky Tonk. That's kind of your big night on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Would you say that's your busiest night typically?
It really depends. I mean, we have definitely with as far as our weekly programming goes, like weekday programming, Tuesday's busier than like a Wednesday. Wednesdays we have a weekly jazz night that's been going on for a while, and we just try to keep things consistent in that direction. And so, I mean, I definitely think we've built out Tuesday night as one of the main options if you want to go out and get a little loose.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I hear it. And then the thing is, people, especially in the industry, they just say Honky Tonk, and everyone knows where it is and what it is.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, it's at the Blockhouse. It's just like, oh, we're going over to Honky Tonk.
Yeah,
like that's the type of branding you can't really buy.
Sure. And I mean, we definitely didn't come up with the idea, but there's not another place in town doing it, and we're really lucky in this town to have like a wealth of awesome musicians who are gigging and playing out with all sorts of groups on the weekends. But Monday and Tuesday are kind of off days for those who are gigging on the weekends and doing that sort of thing. So we've been lucky to kind of create a pretty sweet community of musicians, and then there's a lot of mixing around. I mean, I have a couple friends who met through that night and got hitched last year.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So it's kind of a fun revolving cast. And I think at this point we've probably had damn near 100 people who have been involved between players and singers. So,
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it's fun.
I want to sing sometime. That'd be a blast.
I welcome it.
That'd be a blast.
I welcome it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Honky Tonk speed dating night. If it's all, we're just getting people hitched. Might as well just lean into it.
You know what? You're welcome to head that up. I'm open-minded.
I did.
Toss your hat in the ring.
For the longest time, I was like, man, it'd be cool to have like a speed date. Like it would just be fun to do. But Heartwork is doing something.
Okay,
Heartwork Brewing. I'm like, okay, that'd be fun. Like I'm now taken, but it would have been like fun just to experience.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Just to go in 10 dates in 20 minutes or something. I don't know how they do those. But.
Yeah, I don't know how I would fare in that direction, but but I think it's just awesome when anybody's putting something together.
Yeah.
To like bring people together and like, even if it's something that's outside your comfort zone, it's a cool way to make new things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't think I would do well. I'm normally one of those people that has to grow on you.
Yeah.
But it would just be like a bucket list experience.
Oh, you got quick rapport.
I don't know. Normally it's like, oh, they gotta know me for a few months. They're like, oh, you know what? He is a good guy.
Fair. Well, I've always gotten along with you.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, you knew me as a young buck. Most of the time when I introduced people today, I was like, we played on the 6th grade basketball team together. We were both starters, but on the B team.
Yes. Yes. I was Golden Boot on JV.
There you go. Well, you, correct me if I'm wrong, did you not lead the state? I know you don't want to talk about this at all.
I'm open-minded,
in goals in lacrosse, like your junior year or something?
It was not a sport that was played widely here for the reason, but I mean, like, went to a Christian school where our parents were teachers and stuff. Enjoyed playing that for years, and it was fun to be passionate about something. And when you're that age, you can just readily obsess over something and spend all your time doing it. So
yeah, I feel like the lacrosse wave just hit, especially our grade, like really hard. I just remembered all you guys started playing. I'm like, what? But it was like all the equipment was real expensive and
I'm not playing that anymore these days. I got into tennis late in life, and
do you play tennis?
I got a good buddy who I met through the bar. They were like regulars, and then the pandemic hit, and we got together a couple months after that and became fast friends. And a couple named Charlie and Carmel, who are really sweet people. But he runs a little tennis clinic here and there, and it's a great sport. It's very fun, and the startup cost is like nil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got free courts all over, which this town is awesome in that direction. Like, so many parks and so many free opportunities to get out there.
Yeah, well, I don't even know about half of them. I've been around forever. I'll see new things, and people are like, oh yeah, I've been going on for years. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things where, like, Visit Bloomington, who's our main sponsor, and I know they've worked with you for music rants and stuff too, where they, like, I've talked about on the radio show with Glass on WGCL, where it's like, Visit Bloomington's for people obviously visiting Bloomington, but like, it probably has the most use for people that live here. Yeah. Because there's all this shit going on that we have no idea about.
Totally.
But I love that you're getting into tennis. That's great. I know it.
Hey, you let me know if you want to swing sometime.
I would, because we would play the Woodland Springs had courts next to the clubhouse. Where I had the infamous New Year's Eve party, and we'd go out there and swing some. I know we're not.
I don't know if my parents are going to tune into this one, so we'll see. They don't need to know nothing.
Yeah, that junior year New Year's Eve. But no, I just remember it being fun, just going out there and hitting a ball like with a racket. Yeah. And just you'd loosen at a younger age, loosen the rules a little bit, so it wasn't quite as rigid. Yeah. But it was just volleying. Just going back and forth.
Totally.
It's like playing catch.
And it's nice. I mean, as you get older, you kind of, I feel like when I was younger, I definitely had like plenty of competitive bones in my body. But like these days, it's just like, how do you enjoy yourself? Yeah. You know what I mean? How do you get out there and do something? And I mean, for me, that's one reason why I'm kind of passionate about what I've spent my time doing with Blockhouse, as far as offering up spots where, like, we have a weekly open mic where if you're somebody who's maybe just getting your feet wet and, being vulnerable and performing for people and that sort of thing, like, no one has to be the best at anything to do it, you know, and expressing yourself and enjoying yourself is kind of the value. So
yeah, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you don't build, you can't get experience unless you go out and do it. Mm-hmm. So to provide that platform has to be very rewarding. Yeah. And just, being your own boss, working in music. And like, now granted, I'm sure it sucks sometimes.
I'm rolling with the flow. We'll see. I have like very low overhead in the direction of, like, I don't have any kids. I'm not hitched. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, you can gamble with your time, you know what I mean, and your money to an extent, you know what I mean, and like, what else are we here to do? Like, try things out. You know?
You're doing something you love, and it's cool for the community. Last thing, I just remember David would hit insane behind the back lacrosse shots in games, and it was the coolest thing ever. And I never got so hyped watching lacrosse. I'm like, oh shit. But I wanted to give you your flowers on that.
Hey, I appreciate it.
That was one of the things I always forget about.
You got to toss some tricks in there.
Get a little razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
A little flair.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you talked about open mic night, talked about Honky Tonk. Are the weekends typically filled with touring bands coming through?
There's a lot of that. We do have the weekly things. We also have some monthly things that we do. So like the first Friday of every month, we have a salsa night. And that's it's like a 9 or 10 piece live salsa band.
Whoa.
And they're phenomenal. And that gets a lot of people out dancing. And I mean, there's a pretty rich, groups in town of people dancing in a few different styles. And it seems like they have lesson nights at some other places, but people come out swinging. It is very lively. I do not know how to salsa, but we'll see if I get my feet wet before too long.
Yeah. So what is that like? Like, let's say I wanted to go to salsa night. Also, I love to come out swinging because I feel like swing dance, salsa got to be kind of similar. I don't know if that was intentional.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I know it wasn't intentional, but I'm sure there's some Venn diagram where they overlap.
Right. So like if you are a newbie, do you feel like you could still go out there? Or is it just people that are going to make you look? Are there all ranges of skill levels out there? Salsa?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like that. And I don't have like a fine-tuned like knowledge of it,
right?
But everyone seems really inviting. It's a really like welcoming audience. So I've seen plenty of people who are first timers out there, dancing slowly, catching some moves with somebody who may know more. But they're a super welcoming community for sure.
Awesome. Okay. So it's very inviting. That's because that sounds great. I feel like I would love salsa dancing, but I feel like I would look ridiculous. Especially the first, but you got to get past it. Like you said.
Yeah, you got to look ridiculous for a little while before you're comfortable doing plenty of things.
Before I'm just like the best salsa dancer in town. That's like just a random little like.
I'm not putting it past you. I'm not putting it past you. I think you can make it happen.
I don't know about that. What? I meant to ask you earlier, but how did you come up with the name Blockhouse?
It's in a basement and it's a bunch of concrete blocks. And I had a buddy, Tim Zervos. I don't know if you know him. He worked with me at Farm, and we have a bunch of mutual friends. I think he's from Northwest Indiana. But we were just, hanging out and talking about it, and he had pitched that idea, and I was like, all right, that sounds good. I hate naming things. It's like the bane of my existence when it comes to, whether it's a band name or whether it's a project name. It's just like paralysis by analysis. So sometimes you just got to hear something and roll with it. And that's what I did with that. And I mean, it's like, I guess it's another name for a bunker, which we're in a basement. It's a fine place to be if there's a tornado. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't even have to run anywhere. Just stay where you're at.
Yeah. We stay put.
I know you guys typically don't have food, but you've had carts come out. Is that something that's ever been kind of been on your radar? Or
I would welcome it. I mean, it was just kind of in a circumstance where we can't have a kitchen, as it stands. So we certainly have snacks and things like that available, and we welcome people bringing their own food. But for the time being, that's definitely on the back burner. We may try to figure out something down the line, but yeah, for now, I'd support people enjoying food elsewhere and then coming by,
Are they allowed to bring it in from other places?
Totally. Yeah. Right. We welcome that.
Cool. I love the food back burner.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Well
played. I see you.
I mean, incidental, yet again.
I'm still recovering from paralysis by analysis. I'm like, wow.
I also did not come up with that. But
I figured you didn't, but I'd never heard that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, God, that's good. That's good. I'm going to use that.
Keep it in the back pocket there.
Don't overuse it, though. So let's talk about David James to this point. We grew up that sounded I don't want to do this. But, great.
I'm open-minded.
Yeah, tell us about some of your kind of upbringing before you got to Bloomington.
We went to school in Indianapolis, grew up in Castleton for a while, lived in Carmel, 106 and Gray for a minute, and I liked growing up in Indianapolis overall. It's quite a sprawl, but it was nice. I think with being in our circumstance where we went to a school where people lived all over the place, going to see a buddy on the south side or going out to the east side or, there's some variety.
Very unique.
Yeah. But, from a food standpoint, I don't really feel like I had the most adventurous palate growing up.
Just the Castleton Square Mall food court.
I had a few slices of pizza there, and definitely wasted plenty of time with our rich social life, putzing about the mall with our buddy Tyler Black from time to time. It was good enough. You know what I mean? I think it's I moved here for school, and then, it's like I spent my entire adulthood here. And I've been here like 15 or 16 years at this point. So
there you go. Answer my question on why you can't. Did you have any jobs in Indy at all?
Better business, better community. For over a century, the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce has been a cornerstone of business growth and community development. They are dedicated to helping local businesses thrive. Their business is all about your business. Join the Chamber today. Call 812-336-6381 or visit chamberbloomington.org to learn more.
Because I know you were very involved with sports and stuff, so I didn't know if you ever really had the time.
I worked at you remember Cafe de Mimo?
I was going to say, as soon as I asked that, 96 in Allisonville, the hookah bar.
It was there after it had been in the Castleton Mall for a while.
Oh, really?
Before it became a hookah bar, it was just a coffee shop in the Castleton Mall. And myself and a few other buddies all worked there, and it was a very funny job.
What was that owner's name?
Hani Homsi.
Hani.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a Syrian guy.
Very interesting fella.
Oh yeah. He always had a good outlook and also like an angle. He always like was figuring something out, and I feel like he was very open with us about like, you got to go after it if you're going to try and get something. We played a lot of cards and might have smoked cigarettes underage and that sort of thing, which I do not support.
For the record.
For the record. And then I worked at a McAllister's Deli, I think, for a little while. I worked at White River Concert Venue as a maintenance person.
Oh, really?
For a summer.
What was that like? Did you get to see any acts up close, or
it was
cleaning up any hard partying in the
during the
room?
shows? I mean, you pretty much just got to watch them. Like, you were there for any necessary cleanup during the show, but like mostly you're just like tearing down and cleaning up after thousands of people. So it was a fun job. It was money and entertainment, and would see friends at shows occasionally and get to shoot the breeze for a little while. My first job was working for, my uncle had a print shop downtown. And I was like 11 or 12. He's gone now, rest in peace. So I don't think I'm going to get him in any child labor law trouble. But
well, I'm pretty sure, I don't know how it works with uncles, but I know like family businesses, you can be under 14.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
I don't know how far that extends out.
Yeah.
If it's just mom and dad or what, but
okay. That's good to know. It was a fine job. I was like ripping off, there's like perforated sides for like time tickets for people doing transport or something like that. And so I did that one summer. Yeah, it's kind of like a variety.
Yeah, well, because I couldn't remember any jobs you'd had, but then as soon as I asked it, I remembered Cafe de Mimo.
Yeah.
That was like the spot there for a while. Everyone was going to get the hookahs. It was in an old Starbucks with like the domed like roof.
It kept the same font. I think he was trying to trick as many people as he could into it was still a Starbucks. But
there's no getting tricked on that. That's so funny. You had quite a bit of restaurant, experience under your belt before you came down here. Okay, what'd you come down here for school for?
I got an English major, and so I worked in restaurants after I graduated. I have a lot of friends who've become teachers and are writers, and I think there's great use in learning or getting a degree like English. But yeah, I was just looking to play music and record it and work to support that. And so I worked at Uptown, I worked at Farm, I worked at Chomp when that existed.
Where was that at? I remember.
It was in the old 420.
On Dunn, right? Yeah. Right behind like where Gable's Bagels is now.
Yes.
I totally forgot that place existed.
Yeah. They had a run, and that was a fun gig. I worked behind Chomp, which is on 4th Street. It's now, I think, India Garden, but there used to be the Puccini's La Dolce Vita, and Caravan, which was the half Italian, half Ethiopian restaurant. Like you'd walk in and they'd be like, "You want Italian or Ethiopian?" Which I loved. I loved that, and wish we had some Ethiopian food here.
Oh yeah, that's the number one like glaring hole that we have. Yeah.
So yeah, worked there, and I worked for One World Catering for a while.
Okay, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Were you just doing event bartending?
Yeah, I mean, wait, serving and whatever. And I worked at Finch's for a while. That was kind of like once or twice a week scenario. Once I kind of had the bar going more, but yeah, I've bounced around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's good experience for Farm, Uptown, Finch's. Like,
yeah.
You've made the rounds. Those are all very notable like restaurants, especially Finch's. That was like I picked that for my birthday dinner like 3 years in a row.
It was fantastic, and Candace is an awesome person. It was a great person to work for. She's got monopole.
I was going to ask, have you gone down?
Yeah, it's a great setup. Awesome tasting room. Anytime they have food, it's always top notch. So yeah, definitely recommend checking that out. And she's doing like cooking lessons and things like that. So
sweet. And then so you're doing all that. You're working your way around town. Then that's when you get with your buddies. Like, let's do this recording studio, and just one thing led to another.
Yeah.
God, I love when everything just works out. You're like doing what I love.
You know, we're aiming to. That's you find out that when you're pursuing something like that, there's all sorts of stuff that you may not like doing, but it's just a part of the gig.
Right. So goes along
you gotta
with
roll
the territory.
With the flow for sure.
Yeah. Now you do some of your own music too under David T. James. Is that right?
You know, that's the current installment. I'm bad at committing to a name, but that seemed like,
as I mentioned, I hate coming up with a name.
That seemed like an easy one given that it is my name. So I figured I can try that for a little while. I write a lot of music, been recording a lot of music. I'm good at that part. Putting it out has been an ongoing struggle, but I'm coming around to that too. I'm trying to hit a little stride here. But yeah, I've done some co-writing with other people and get out there, play music.
It would be so funny if T wasn't your middle initial. You just like that's your stage name, but it's not like actually how to throw
I could
people
get that
off.
Switched around. You never know.
Yeah. It's like David G. James. I don't know. Doesn't roll off the tongue quite a bit. Did you open for Durand when he was here, and have you done co-writing with him, or is that?
I did it was probably like a year ago or so when he was playing at the Bluebird. But yeah, he's a great buddy of mine. We lived together for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah.
And co-wrote a couple tunes on the record that he has out now.
It's awesome, man.
And a bunch of buddies played on that, like Drake and Glenn and Ben Lumsdane and Matt Romey, and yeah, good crew.
That's so sick. I love seeing just how far they've come since they've got out of Bloomington, essentially. Not because they got out of Bloomington, but they were always destined for bigger and better things.
Totally.
And I forget what happened. I wanted to go to that show so bad, and then especially I saw you were opening. I was like, what? Dave was opening? And I forget what I had going on. It was work or just something where I couldn't be there, and I was just pissed about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's huge. I mean, those they've done very well. So to be a co-writer on some of the songs is quite the achievement.
It's fun. It's fun to make music with your buddies. You know what I mean? That's and when we were living together, both of us were writing a lot of songs, and he wrote some of those on a piano that I had. My grandma Willie got a shout out in the liner notes for that.
Oh, nice.
I mean, music is a really great way to connect with other people, and you never know what's going to happen. And that's been a cool thing to like watch people. We're not a big venue, our capacity is like 100, it's not the big stage that, people wind up on, but pretty much the majority of people who wind up on big stages played smaller stages first. And that's been a really rewarding thing to like meet people and become friends with people who then blast off, you never know what'll happen.
Yeah, that's got to be super cool. When I went and saw Childers up at Ruoff for Deer Creek, and he mentioned, he's like, yeah, one of my favorite shows I ever played was at Fat Dan's in Indy. And he's like, we were 3-piece, and the whoever bass player had to keep moving for people to get in and out of some door. And I'm just like, that's so crazy. Just picturing him at Deer Creek with 20, however many thousand people fit there.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, I remember back playing at a Chicago deli shop. You
That's
know, it's
wild.
like so crazy how people just work their way through and the experiences they get on the way there, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was bummed to miss that. The S.G. Goodman, who opened up, played for the first time at our bar like 7 years ago.
Really?
And has she's a good buddy. Stayed at my place some months back.
Wow.
And that's been really awesome to see that. 'Cause, I mean, she's been opening up for Jason Isbell with regularity. Tyler Childers recorded one of her songs on his record, that Space and Time tune, which is heartbreaking and beautiful. So yeah, I mean, it's a close knit, a lot of overlapping community, which is awesome. You know.
Yeah, who was it? There was like a duet playing at the Buskirk. I think it was a duo. And their tour bus hit my car, and I was out there talking to them, and we were getting it all figured out. And was it you or Scott ran by? They needed a guitar or something.
Oh yeah, that was a friend of a friend. Yeah, I was loaning a guitar and amplifier too. Yeah. No, I mean it's you never know. Like in any given city, there's someone you might know who knows somebody you might know, and most people who are game for a good time and in the music realm are down to help each other out.
Yeah.
I think
I had it with Food Truck Friday. I was like, dude, David, like, do you have a mic stand? Or you know, I've had that, I think, happen at least twice where I've ran over there and grabbed something from you guys.
Yeah.
One time you like borrowed my bingo wheel for Lord knows what.
I mean, it was for bingo.
Yeah,
which we are gratefully appreciated. We're getting bingo rolling. We're learning.
But yeah, it's fun. It's just that community and just everyone pitching in, helping each other out is really
absolutely
cool. It was so funny. I was like, "What's up?" You're like, "Oh, so and so, I'm loaning them this," and you're like, "What's up with you?" I'm like, "Tour bus hit my car, but cool. All right, have a good one." You know? They just scratched the bumper. It was all fine. It was good. So what do you envision the next 5 years of Blockhouse looking like?
You know, that's a great question. I think a lot of it's just fine tuning things that we already have going on. Part of it's being more proactive and reaching out to booking agencies and folks that we would love to have through. I mean, I think a food or expanding the drink program would definitely be interesting. But yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, if you asked me that 5 years ago, I don't know if I would have gotten to the point where I'm at now.
Yeah.
You know, with all of that planned, and so much of it is just kind of listening to the people who are around you and working on the same thing. And I've been really lucky to have awesome people on staff throughout the time, and have people who've stayed on for multiple years. And, you know, I mean, listening to them, and, you know, it's finding out what the people that you want to spend time with are also looking to do.
Yeah.
And we've had, I mean, over the years, we've hosted comedy and community theater and a pie eating contest and poetry. And, you know, I think keeping an open mind to what can be, and just welcoming, you know, I welcome anybody in the community who wants to throw an event to hit us up, because I'll try just about anything once or twice, you know. I'm open-minded.
I can't wait for the Blockhouse billboard that's like, do you want to do cool shit? We want to do cool shit. Call us. Like,
hey, I like that. I'm working on getting my billboard money. We'll see.
Yeah. Chocolate Moose doesn't have billboard money yet. We'll get there eventually. But once we all get there, we'll throw a big billboard money party.
I'll start serving some ice cream. You know,
there you go. Yeah,
maybe an ice cream social every once in a while.
Blockhouse Ice Cream Social. Yeah, dude, I can wheel it on up to you. Not too far.
That's true. It's stone's throw. Very close.
What's your number one beer seller?
You know, I mean, we get through plenty of PBR. I mean, there's the cheap hitters there. There's a lot of IPA and pills. We always keep a solid German pils on, and that always sells well. It seems like sours have gained some popularity over the past few years, and keep one of those rotating. And yeah, would eventually like to expand our draft options. We have like 7 draft lines right now, and still kind of navigating. sometimes you got to get more electricity rolling in an area before you can add certain things and kind of prioritizing renovations that you can make with what you got.
Right. It's not as cut and dry as you might think. It's like, yeah, just throw some more taps on.
Everything requires like at least a handful of steps more than just like,
yeah,
let's do that. But it's part of the process. You get used to
the rude awakenings of business ownership, bar management. It's never as easy as you think it is.
There's always something. You got to enjoy the process because there's always going to be one,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, it's cool seeing what you guys have been doing. With multiple partners now, you're kind of just taking it. Again, you still have a lot of great people around you making it happen. But Blockhouse is just one of those places where it's cool. Like people, I've just never hear anybody talk shit about Block. It's like Blockhouse is just a cool spot. Everyone's just like, oh, Blockhouse, yeah, Blockhouse is great. And I feel like it takes a lot to achieve that. So kudos, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate it. It's other people making it what it is. And I mean, it's no one's full-time gig aside from mine, and I'm not necessarily making full-time gig moolah, but I mean, people are there because they want to be there. And like everyone is a whole human being who's got a bunch of other stuff going on too. I mean, we have writers and educators and musicians and cartoonists, different people working there who got other stuff going on. So feel really lucky.
The No Dishes podcast is brought to you by visitbloomington.com. VisitBloomington.com is the best resource for restaurant and culinary information, special events, fun activities, places to stay, and more in our area. We share a similar mission here on the No Dishes podcast of highlighting local businesses and the people who make our community unique. We can't thank them enough for hopping on board. Check them out at visitbloomington.com to easily plan your next meal, visit, or night out on the town.
I know you mentioned Atlas as one of your favorite spots to go. What are some of your other favorite watering holes?
Atlas and the Back Door are definitely some primary ones. I like the Alley Bar here and there. I don't make it there as often as other places, but I always have a good time there. Honestly, these days I live on the east side. I mean, I'm hitting Office Lounge.
Oh, well, baby. I love it.
On a Friday or Saturday, I can catch Dave Walters for a little karaoke. They got some late night food, and it's solid pub grub, I
didn't know Dave was doing their Friday, Saturday night. Because they've always had Friday, Saturday night karaoke for a long time.
Yeah.
But I haven't been in years. And I never saw Dave in there, so I didn't know Dave was doing it. I need to make it back out there. That's awesome.
He's forever killing it. And if no one's signing up, you just get serenaded by him,
dude,
which is the best.
His rendition of Candy Shop is. Have you ever heard him do Candy Shop?
It's been a while, but I that does ring a bell.
It was one of the first. I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was, but I remembered him doing that. So I was like, this guy is. He's cool. Like he's different.
Yeah.
But it's like does not care what anyone thinks. He's just having a good time. And I was like, I want to be more like that guy.
Yeah. I think he's figured out plenty of secrets to enjoy in life.
Yeah. Okay. What about dining out, eating? You have a favorite pizza in town?
It's a good question. I mean, I always like a Mother Bear Zal. I do enjoy the pan. Honestly, the best pizza though I've had, every once in a while, there'll be a pizza pop up at the Back Door. And Sandy, she just makes like these amazing. I mean, it's like with one of those like super hot ovens. I'm not an aficionado in this direction. But like that's the best pizza. It was kind of like King Dough-ish in the scenario, and I guess like I haven't had Da Vinci in a while, but it's more of that style of pizza. Just classic margarita, excellent.
But yeah, just like light, got some crisp to it. Yeah.
If I'm ordering late, I mean, Pizza X is still a classic for me. I get a little sun-dried tomato, a little ricotta, a little chicken, kind of a la chicken bada bing, which also bucchettos I enjoy as well. But
so Mo had never had a calzone, and I was talking about that that chicken. So we ordered that night and got 2 of those, and it's just she's hooked. And I'm like, dude, I hadn't had it in forever since you brought. You're like, yeah, dude, chicken bada bing. I was like, is that the one with ricotta? You're like sun-dried tomatoes. Like, I'm like, yes.
I'm a sucker for some ricotta and sun-dried tomatoes for sure.
Oh, dude, and it's like the bread is perfect, and for 2 of them, it was like $22.
It's reasonable.
A lot of food.
It's reasonable.
It's dense. It's heavy.
I can live with that.
And it doesn't feel cheap. It feels like high quality ingredients.
Yeah.
It's filling, and it's like $11. So shout out to Polly. Shout out to Bucchettos.
Absolutely.
That was.
I'll be back.
Yeah, bada bing. All right, burgers. We talking burgers at all? You a big burger guy?
I do love some burgers. I mean, Hinkle's is tough to beat as far as like looking for a smash burger situation. I will say Cabin Lounge out of 446, they've got an awesome smash burger deal with some tots or fries. It's like $5.
Yeah, it was. I went out there to see my buddy's band Catalpa, which if they've never played Blockhouse,
I think they might be playing next month.
Sweet,
Yeah,
they're awesome. But they played Food Truck Friday. They've been doing like Sundays at the Cabin.
I guess this is coming out in August. I think they're playing this month.
Yeah, nice, good catch. Yeah. August, Catalpa, Black. And I went up. I was like, "What kind of special?" She's like, $5 burger. I'm like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, $5." And their portions are massive at the Cabin.
Yeah.
But I actually ended up going. They also had a fried chicken dinner special. It was $10, and it was just like that was speaking to me.
Yeah.
And just the green beans, the mashed potatoes, and gravy.
I love that.
And it wasn't like it was such a weird. It was almost like a very flat breading. But it was like really, really good. Again, for being a food guy, or like that's my shtick, I am terrible at describing food other than terrible comparisons to pop culture and reviews. That's all I got. That's
cheeky. No, it's nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
As far as like really just being like, oh, this type of breading, I'm not a chef. I don't know.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like panko? I don't know. But it was so good. And it was like so crispy. It wasn't the chicken itself was moist, which by the way, I don't know if you have any, but I realized the other day there's no good synonym for moist. Think about it. Come back to me. There's none.
Yeah.
Because people don't like
that. People don't like
hearing that word. And I'm like, okay, what do I say instead? And I've got no good alternative.
I'll meditate on that a little bit. I'll circle back.
We're gonna start doing a little segment every episode, like Jordan's brain teaser or something. I don't know. We'll workshop it, Garrett.
I support it. More bits, you know.
Yeah. What you worked at Uptown for a while. Probably the longest of all the ones you mentioned.
No, I was at Farm for that was probably my longest stint somewhere, serving and bartending. And,
What we talk to people how after a while. Now Farm does a good job of specials and rotating stuff in, but usually you get burnt out on the menu.
Sure,
because you're eating it all the time. Yeah. Did you have like a go-to at Farm that was like your little like David's custom? Like, oh, hey, chef, can you do this with this and this?
You know, I mean, not so much. I mean, I would, you try to hack the menu to eat healthier than I was. I mean, when you're working somewhere 5 or 6 days a week, it's like not trying to eat a burger 4 or 5 days a week.
Right.
So sometimes I was just like getting grilled chicken breast and like asparagus or some shit.
Yeah,
but
okay.
But Uptown, I was working like, there was a stint where I worked there for like 6 days a week, 6 months or something like that. And this was a long time ago. It was like a decade plus.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love the huevos rancheros there, but they're really great with their employees as far as like providing them a meal fairly often or like at a steep discount.
Nice.
So I'd play with the substitutions here and there to get close to a huevos ranchero without that plate. But yeah, I don't know. Finch's was my favorite place that I worked. That it was just like I've got to eat something here every time I work, and they had probably the best burger in town, I think, for quite a while.
I don't know if I ever did their burger. I've talked about it probably more than any dish ever on here. It was their duck confit, on that salad. Yeah. And it was just, I've never had anywhere that still had just like such rich duck with like crispy skin. Like the way they did it was just flawless every time. And I've still not quite had just like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that pizza oven there is great. And Lenny's is making good pizza there. I love that oven though. Like it works well.
And the original they have, the Lenny's original, that bread, it's just like so pillowy.
Yeah.
You just like squeeze in a little bit before you finally eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got some good places under your belt, man.
I try to keep some variety. I mean, and we're lucky for a town our size, I think, as far as like international fare goes. Like
100%.
I love Little Tibet, some Siam House. Yeah, it's hard to go wrong. And I mean, good Indian fare across the board.
Dude, I had a couple weeks ago, I did back-to-back butter chicken lunches. I did. Well,
there's no shame in that.
It was really dumb of me. I ordered carry-out lunch from Taste of India.
Okay.
Instead of just going in there and making a box.
Yeah.
And I walked in there and I'm like, God, I'm so stupid. Because like I could have just picked a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it would have been cheaper than what I got. Because I just did butter chicken with I think it's Kareem naan. It's like naan with little lamb and like cheese in it. And it's like $1 more than the garlic.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I love the garlic too, but it just depends on the mood, you know?
Yeah.
And it was excellent, but I paid 20 some bucks. I could have gotten a box off the buffet for like 14. And then the next day, I just had a ton of stuff going on at work. I didn't want to leave, and I maybe DoorDash twice a month at most. I don't DoorDash a ton, but I was like, I just want to keep my head down, keep working, have something brought here. Hop on DoorDash. Taste India Garden is running like a big promo. I'm like, all right, well, looks like I'm doing butter chicken from India Garden, and they're both good. Taste India I still prefer, but they're both good. But they're so different though.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever had them like back to back, but they're quite different for being the same dish.
Yeah, I love me some Indian food. I need to check out India Garden again. It's been a while, and I dined in.
They were doing a $9.99 buffet for a minute there. I don't know if they still are, but it was like $9.99. My buddy and I went in there, and there was only a handful of people in there, but it was just all hot and fresh and $10.
You can't beat it.
Nope, sure can't, Bob.
Not easy.
Anywhere that you'd like to show love to that we haven't had a chance to yet?
I would say Ardent Instruments is a great spot that does not serve food. Does not serve food, but Nick Romy is a treasure in this town and runs a instrument repair and flips some gear as well. And
nice.
Dylan is somebody else who just came in who is an old roommate of mine for a short stint, but is a luthier and like had spent years going to Mexico and building guitars and is now making guitars as well. And that's in the Fell building, kind of just a door or two down from Rainbow.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's a great instrument shop. If you're thinking in the direction of food,
no,
kebab. I mean,
any man, you're good.
I don't know. I don't do a lot of these.
You put me on the spot. Dude, and this was after we already talked about 14 places.
Sure.
I'm like, what else you got?
Yeah. I'll still hit Scenic View. They're only open 2 days a week, but I'll hit Scenic View occasionally.
The Bloomington Town Planner is a community calendar owned and published by local residents John and Sharon Martin. Mailed out to Bloomington homes in December of each year, it features school schedules and community events. And don't forget the coupons at the bottom of the calendar. They'll save you money and help you decide on the next restaurant or retailer to check out here in the Bloomington area. Town Planner also has an online calendar which will be found at townplanner.com. Make sure to sign up for their weekly e-newsletter so you can stay on top of all the fun events going on around town.
And I'm interested to hear. Did you hear about what was the Fairfax Bar and Grill is now? There's a barbecue joint that's going to be out of it.
Yeah, so Fat Daddy's Barbecue in Ellettsville at the Hoosier Putt Hole.
Okay.
Underneath that is the Twisted Tap.
Okay.
The owner of the Twisted Tap is opening the Rusty Anchor Saloon at the old Fairfax, and Fat Daddy's Barbecue is going to be like Fat Daddy's like Lakeside, or there's some little
gotcha
addition, that kind of variation from Fat Daddy's in Ellettsville. So I think they're still going to do both, and then they'll have the Rusty Anchor Saloon with Fat Daddy's Barbecue, which their barbecue.
I haven't had it. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get in on that. I like going down towards that side of the lake every once in a while and for a swim. So that would be. Yeah, welcome having some spots near there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love Fairfax. I love the food McKinley had. We did bingo there for a while. They had good live music.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it's going to be cool to see it kind of re-envisioned and revamped. And the Fat Daddies, I've only had them a couple times, but they do really good specials.
Yeah.
We're a big believer, like Lovey, who owns the Moose, and myself. Like, if you're going to run a special, like, make it like 50%. Like, don't tell me 10% off an appetizer with a purchase of an entree.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't move the needle for me. Like, if you're going to run a promo, run a promo.
Yeah.
And they do that. They're doing like $2 sliders, $1 where you like.
I dig that, yeah.
And so I got much love for and they've got straight up Kool-Aid on tap, dude. Like, you get the barbecue, you get the wings, and you go over to the drinks, and there's just Kool-Aid in one of the like clear little things that's running through. And I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen that in Bloomington.
Talking barbecue made me think of a grill, and then it made me think of hot dogs. And I do have to shout out Orbit Room. They are,
TV Mike.
Hosting a bunch of great music, and highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't been. That spot's awesome.
I love that you mentioned him right after you talked about going out to the lake for a swim, because he's so big on, I forget what, Garrett, do you remember what he called him?
Is it like
something
a
dip?
Slinky dip, or
it was like a zip dip, or like
dip?
Where they would just like middle of the day run out to the lake, swim for 10 minutes, and come back like in the middle of a busy day, and just like it was like something dip. And
I support that.
Yeah,
you got to get out there. I mean, it's the largest reservoir in Indiana, right? I think.
Largest lake.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
the
massive.
Outdoor side of things here is like awesome.
And
definitely like a reason that's kept me around here. I mean, compared to in Indianapolis, I mean, I've got buddies who live up there, and I'll go up there, and there's awesome pockets and great things, but we're pretty lucky down here as far as the nature situation goes, and being able to hit a swim.
Well, you and I, both grew up in Indy, Carmel, and then moved to Bloomington, and just have found it so appealing that we've stayed here for 15 years. I think you came down here like a year earlier than I did, because I stayed in Broad Ripple for a year. But it's like, it's got everything. And you mentioned earlier just the sprawl. Yeah. That's what I love about Bloomington. It's all so tight. Yeah. It's just like, anyone ever complains about traffic in Bloomington, I disregard your opinion about it. It's nothing. It's absolute nothing. It's so quick to get anywhere. Traffic is damn near non-existent. Yeah. Like a little bit, but you're not stuck in 465 for, 30 minutes in bumper to bumper traffic. Like,
that can feel a little like a wooden roller coaster every once in a while up there.
Oh God. But it's just Bloomington's got everything, man. It's got the nature, it has the arts, it has the music, it has the food. It's got great welcoming people. Like it's
and proximity to bigger markets if you want to go somewhere. Yeah. We're smack dab between Chicago and Nashville. Yeah. As far as like 4 hours north, 4 hours south.
2 hours Louisville, 2 hours Cincy. Yeah. Indy. Dude, I can get to a Pacers or a Colts game, I think as quick or quicker than someone from Noblesville. Yeah. Like you can just get up there in like 50 minutes and you're at Lucas Oil. Like it's not long, especially now that like they just announced today that in August, the ramps from 69 to 465 will be open.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that gnarly? Because it's been like a 10-year project.
Yeah.
So 69 will finally be like complete to where you're just like not even messing with a single light. You're just boop, right on 465.
Something to look forward to.
I'm excited, dude. I'm excited. You have no idea.
Rip dip.
I love it. You just found the old episode. Just go for a rip dip. Got a Grizzly Pouches shout out. The old set with our little yellow wall.
You got a nice thing going here.
It's good. We're happy with it, man. That was back when we were in Artisan Alley.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did that whole season in Artisan Alley. Then we moved over here to a smaller space, and then Banker's Life cleared out, and we're like, hey, could we take a look at that? And we ended up over here, and then part of it got taken by like a construction company, but it's pretty cool. It's funny. I never thought about you obviously knowing Fountain Drive because the studio and Because what was it, the Jefferson Street Parade Band that you mentioned, or like they had their studio? But wasn't that the name of the parade band too that they had that would play?
Yeah, it was the studio's named that after the parade band.
Okay, gotcha.
And I guess it would have been maybe 2016 or 2015. I went on tour with Jefferson Street Parade Band as a tag along, like catching video and stuff. And I don't know, I'm not a videographer, but I had a camera and just kind of rolled along. But yeah. Ben Fowler's an awesome person and surrounds himself with great people.
Yeah. We worked with them quite a bit. I forget, there were some different collabs we did, but I just remember one of the first Food Truck Fridays we had at the old stand. They like came in and like Lovey and myself had our tall, like 14-foot high, like chocolate mousse flags and just looked like complete jackasses, like in there with them, like waving these chocolate mousse flags. But they were always so great to work with and super talented, and because they would work, I think, with a bunch of students from project school, like teaching them, music.
Yeah.
Cool, dude.
Feeling good.
Feeling great. I've had a great time. Always good catching up, man. We've talked about this for a while. I say that to a lot of guests, but I'm again from fourth grade to here. Cheers,
Glad
man.
to get it in. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Blockhouse, check them out.
Bless you all.
Namaste. What another great episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Also, thanks to our Season 6 presenting sponsor, Visit Bloomington. Check them out at visitbloomington.com. We'll see you soon. In the meantime, keep those hands dry. This episode of the No Dishes Podcast was recorded, edited, and produced by Garrett Portinga of Green Hat Media in beautiful downtown Bloomington, Indiana.
No dishes.
No Dishes Media.
No Dishes Media.